Jungkook's cry at the end of the concert left thousands of ARMYs speechless. But it wasn't just the tears that shocked everyone. It was one of her quiet lines that was accidentally caught on camera. "I was never invited to that event." What does Jungkook mean? Who didn't invite him? And why does this sentence feel like a secret explosion that has been kept tight? Is this the beginning of the story of the hidden wounds behind the smile of BTS's youngest idol? Have you ever seen someone cry? But you know, it's not an ordinary cry. A cry that contains more than sadness, but also a sense of loss, a wound that is held, maybe even anger that is never spoken. That's what happened that night, on a stage that was supposed to be full of laughter, hugs, and euphoria. The night, which was supposed to be a symbol of celebration, instead turned into pieces of painful memories that imprinted in the hearts of anyone who witnessed it. Jungkook cried. But that's not all.
Jungkook said something.
And from that moment on, everything changed. "I was never invited to the event." Simple sentences.
Short.
But enough to silence thousands of voices, drop a smile, and thrill the hearts of the ARMY who heard it. What does Jungkook mean? When did this event occur? What event is meant? And more importantly, who hasn't? Is this a cover-up for a specific party? Was it a personal complaint that accidentally spilled out into the public eye? Or is it part of a deeper wound? A wound that he has been hiding with a sweet smile and a wave of his hand to thousands of cameras since that night. The hashtags, #We Hear You Jungkook, and #You Deserve Every Stage have gone global. But behind all the trending topics, there was one thing that could not be ignored. The ARMY began to question, does Jungkook feel neglected? Does he ever feel alone? Even when surrounded by millions of love, some would call it an emotional moment. That he is simply too tired, carried away, or perhaps reminded of something very personal. But is it possible just like that? Is that crying really just about being tired? Or is it precisely the culmination of an injustice that has been swallowed up for too long? Some fans have started stringing together the pieces of events lately. More silent Jungkook. Jungkook is not seen in some specific public activities. Jungkook, who missed one of the big events, an event attended by top idols, even his own colleagues. Is that the event he meant in that sentence? And if it does, why didn't Jungkook, with his big name, actually get an invitation? Then who's in charge? HYBE's, media, the organizers? Or maybe someone we never expected? Is this just the beginning of a bigger conflict? What makes this statement even more heartbreaking is the fact that Jungkook is not the type of person who easily complains in public. He is known as a member who always tries hard, who prefers to prove through action rather than complaint. So when someone like him finally said that, how could we ignore it? Some fans who were present directly at the concert that evening testified that the atmosphere changed drastically. Before the sentence was uttered, the stage was full of light. But after him, as if all the lights became dimmer, the atmosphere became colder. Some soldiers were seen shedding tears, even before Jungkook finished speaking. Some screamed, some closed their mouths in disbelief, and some just stood frozen. "I was never invited to the event." Unplanned speech. But so honest. After the concert, a lot of speculation arose. Some have said that Jungkook feels undervalued in some important projects lately. Some say that his position began to be eliminated by decisions made without his knowledge. Is it possible that there is internal tension? Is someone behind the scenes dimming the light that has been shining on Jungkook? In the midst of all that speculation, the most painful part came from the guilt of the fans themselves. They began to ask, do we support him enough? Have we been so busy with rumors and gossip that we forgot to notice that Jungkook was injured? Question after question hangs. And one of the hardest things to accept is that Jungkook is not crying out of weakness. She was crying because she had been alone for too long. What really happened before the concert? Is something buried too deep? Why didn't anyone notice earlier? Backstage, several sources who declined to be named whispered of a surprising possibility. That Jungkook has been voicing his discomfort for a long time. That there are gaps in scheduling, media priorities, and even promotional decisions that never fully involve him. Jungkook is starting to feel unheard of, said a person who reportedly works in artist management. But the question is, who chooses not to listen? And an even more suffocating question, Is this the reason why he has briefly disappeared from the spotlight in recent weeks? An army officer wrote on social media, "We thought he was just busy." But as it turned out, he was feeling unwanted. A piercing sentence, which teaches that sometimes even idols can feel invisible, and when they finally cry, it's not because they're tired, because they want to be hugged and no one hugged. What will happen after this? Will HYBE give an explanation? Will Jungkook return with a smile, as if none of this ever happened? Or is this the beginning of a new chapter in his life? A more honest, bolder, and possible one more painful? To be sure, that night left a wound. Not only for Jungkook, but for the entire army who realized that behind the stage, behind the laughter and perfect choreography, there was a young man who just wanted to be invited, appreciated, and heard. Jungkook said, "I was never invited to that event. But we heard you, and we will not be silent, because when your tears fall, the world should cry." Seoul's night sky no longer shines as usual. The sparkling lights of the city feel empty compared to the spotlight that now leads to two names, Kim Taeyoung and Jungkook. One old video, one cryptic sentence, and the world starts to shake. But the biggest shock came from HYBE. Yeah, finally they're talking. After thousands of calls, global petitions, and even boycotts of certain projects, HYBE held an impromptu press conference that was broadcast behind closed doors. But as always, the leaks keep happening. A journalist from Japan, who declined to be named, leaked a transcript of part of the company's representative statement. "We are aware that there are great concerns about the interaction between BTS members, especially between Kim Taeyoung and Jungkook. We would like to reiterate that any form of statement in the video does not represent deliberate internal tension or conflict," the spokesperson said in an overly cautious tone. But what happens is exactly the opposite. The wording is considered too normative. Even most of the army felt HYBE was again evasive and only gave adjusted truth. But there was one sentence that left everyone speechless. "We have asked the members for permission regarding the archive of interviews that have never been aired in full. In the near future, the original and unedited version will be released to the public." What? Will they release a full version? And censored? Without edits? This sentence immediately became storm on social media. Army cheered, but also uneasy. Because if the tape is actually released unedited, is the world ready to deal with what Taeyoung and Jungkook actually said? It didn't take long for a trusted account known as Insider, HYBE, to post a small snippet of the original interview, the part that never aired. In the video, Taeyoung is seen taking a deep breath, then says, "I feel sometimes we have too many things to pretend." He looked at the table, didn't see anyone. Beside him, Jungkook was silent, his face tense, and his hands clenched into fists. Then, slowly, Jungkook whispered softly, "If I say I'm tired, it'll be a headline. But if I shut up, I'm ruin myself." It was a snapshot that was not yet a minute long. But it was enough to make the world of fandom shake. I asked this an indirect acknowledgement that their relationship is fractured. Are they just pretending to be okay, to please the public? And even more painful, was their silence all this time not out of indifference, but for fear that their words will be taken advantage of? One by one, fans began to write open letters, not only to Jungkook and Taeyoung, but also to HYBE. They ask for honesty, not manipulation. They no longer want to see pieces of video designed for the sake of a specific narrative. They want reality, albeit bitter. But in the midst of the storm, an unexpected figure appeared. Jin, BTS's oldest member, who is known for always being the arbiter, suddenly uploaded a message on the official Weverse platform. Sometimes you don't always agree. But love is never really lost. I saw them. I know that feeling remains. Don't judge from just one piece of history. This message surprised everyone. Not only because it came from Jin, who is usually very careful with his words, but because his words seem to be trying to protect Taeyoung and Jungkook. At the same time, acknowledge that there is indeed something going on. At the same time, an old clip started circulating again. A video from 2017, when Taeyoung and Jungkook sat together in a rehearsal room, talking about their dreams. Jungkook said, "I want us to stay together, no matter what happens. Because you're the only one who always knew what I was like." And Taeyong replied with a smile, "If one day I stay away, come after me, please." Now, that video feels like a sad prophecy, because what is happening now is the opposite. They're not chasing each other. They are far away from each other, each with its own silence. Is this silence a form of defense? Or is it an unhealed wound? All the spotlights are now waiting for one show, the full version of Taeyong and Jungkook's original interview that HYBE has been editing so far. And when the video was finally released, without any notice of time, without any introduction, just one sudden midnight upload, millions of people in unison stopped breathing. There is no opening music, an O logo, just a dark screen, then the sound of Jungkook's heavy breathing. And beside him, Taeyong sat quietly, looking into the camera with eyes that, for the first time in a long time, displayed not celebrity charisma, but real human fatigue. Do you ever get tired of pretending to be happy? Taeyong's first sentence broke the silence. His voice was low, almost like a murmur, but in that calm there was precisely a terrible force. "Every day," Jungkook replied. "But I'm more afraid that people will know I'm not okay. I'm afraid it disappoints them. They don't discuss projects. They don't talk about songs. What they discuss is a sense of alienation between them, which he says does not happen overnight, but grows slowly, like an unconscious distance until it is too wide to reach back." Taeyong then said something that made the fandom world silent for even longer. "Sometimes I feel like we're not friends anymore. We are just two professionals who are expected to always be familiar." Is this a statement that V and Jungkook are no longer best friends? Have we lost Taekook not as fan service, but as two hearts that once cared for each other? Jungkook looked down when he heard that sentence. And after a few seconds of silence, he looked at Taeyong and said, "You know I will always be here, but I'm also human. If you push me too far, I can get away with it." Many thought the video would provide clarification. What was unexpected was that the video actually revealed more injuries than anyone had ever imagined. ARMY, who has always loved the intimacy, laughter, and comfort of Taeyong and Jungkook's interactions, is suddenly presented with a reality that is bitter, raw, and almost painful to watch. The 43-minute video contains unscripted talk. No questions from the interviewer. There is no product promotion. Just two best friends, who may not be best friends anymore, trying to be honest with each other for the first time in front of the camera. "I miss the old version of you," Jungkook said. "And I miss the old US," Taeyong replied. "But I do not know that version still exists." These sentences made many ARMY immediately wrote long reflections on Twitter, Weverse, and other fandom communities. Many of them said that this video is not only about Taeyong and Jungkook, but also about losing the version of yourself that was once happy with someone and now feels foreign despite still being physically close. More surprisingly, in the 27th minute, Taeyong was seen almost crying. He closed his face with both hands and said, "I'm moving away not because I hate you, but because I don't know how to love you anymore in a situation like this." Does loving here mean love in the sense of companions? Or more than that, speculation immediately skyrocketed, not just from the ARMY, but also from major South Korean media, Japan, to entertainment news outlets in the United States. The hashtag the truth of Taekook became the world's #1 trend in just 19 minutes since the video was released. But it's not just a train for many fans. This video was a turning point, not out of hate, but out of understanding, not because of disappointment, but because they finally accepted the fact that idols are human.
And people can change.
Could get hurt. You can walk away and maybe never come back. HYBE herself has not issued a follow-up statement after this video was released, but fans are convinced that this video could not have been uploaded without the direct permission of Taeyong and Jungkook. Some say this is a form of separation from them. There are also those who believe this is a new beginning, but without masks anymore. That night, it wasn't just the millions of spectators who cried. Even the announcer, who read this news on the Korean TV station, could not hide his tears. In the last 10 years, we've seen BTS grow as a family. But today, we learned that even families can lose their way, and it takes time to find each other again. And the great question that now haunts all hearts, will Taeyong and Jungkook ever return? Or is this video a silent goodbye to a relationship that was once a shaft of fandom warmth. One thing is certain, no one will ever see them the same again. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's the beginning of the honesty I've been waiting for. No one could really sleep that night. Not in Seoul. Not in Tokyo. Not in